Whether you're a seller looking to hire their first or their next VA, or a VA who's looking for their first or next client, you're going to love the Hiring a VA Summit happening May 19th to the 22nd. Everything that weekend is absolutely free, and there are even some bonus live events the weekend before. You can get all of that information in the episode description, or if you have any questions about getting involved, you can send me a DM on Instagram over at Brittany Verlinich. Hello and welcome to the Social Media Magic Podcast, the perfect podcast for TPT sellers, teacherpreneurs, and teacher business owners who consider themselves to be introverts. Each episode shares all kinds of ideas, tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make more sales and grow your community on social media. Without further ado, let's get on to today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the Social Media Magic Podcast. I'm Brittany Verlinich and I'm the host of this show. I am a content strategist, social media manager, a total marketing nerd, and over the next several weeks, we're going to be talking all about hiring help for your business, hiring freelancers and independent contractors and VAs for your TPT seller teacherpreneur business. The unique thing about me talking about this topic is I've seen and been on both sides. I've been a TPT seller working with virtual assistants. I've been a virtual assistant hiring other virtual assistants, and I've been the virtual assistant helping other people. But there are a lot of words that we use when it comes to this space. I mean, just the words I used right now: independent contractor, freelancer, VA, virtual assistant. What do they all mean? What are the differences between them? How do you know when it's time for you to hire a VA? And can you even afford a VA? How much do VAs cost? What's the going rate for the different type of work that you need? What do you need to hire out for first? It can be a whole rabbit hole. And if you need some more immediate answers, I actually have a blog post that is really epic. It goes into the basics of outsourcing, what it is, how it works, and it answers a lot of these questions for you. So if you want that, you can just go to the episode description and look for the links there, and you can grab that link. We also have a mini audio-only summit happening May 19th through the 22nd. So if you know that this is the summer that you're going to hire some help, get more done, and that you're going to start taking your store really seriously, or maybe just elevate it, go to the next level with it, start to get some of your hours back by paying a VA or a freelancer to take some of those tasks off your plate, then you'll definitely want to tune in for this series of episodes, and you'll want to get a ticket to that summit. It's completely free to access May 19th through 22nd, and you will have the opportunity to upgrade to an all-access pass if you need more time with the material, and or if you just want to grab some of those amazing bonuses that are going to be contributed by our speakers. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the basics. What is a VA or a virtual assistant? So in the TPT world, we use a virtual assistant kind of differently than a lot of other online entrepreneurs do. We use it as kind of a catch-all term. So I wouldn't describe myself as a VA. In fact, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, you've probably noticed that I use the term content strategist or social media manager, because depending on what specifically you hire me for, I'm going to be operating in a different capacity for you. And also, I'm not just that either, right? I also sometimes act as a consultant or a coach, depending on specifically who I'm working with and exactly what they're hiring me for. I've also worn the hat of a copywriter and of an influencer, but all these terms don't really matter so much as just understanding what's really happening when you hire a virtual assistant. When you hire a virtual assistant, what you're doing is outsourcing. For this to really make sense, we have to think about our brands, our TPT stores, as companies. I know that this can be really scary, and honestly, it can even feel a little far-fetched, especially if you're only making maybe a few thousand or a few hundred a month, or heck, even $50 a month. I probably know what you're going to think next. If you're thinking, well, okay, great, that would be nice to hire someone, but can I even afford it if I'm making a couple hundred a month? Yes, you can. And the big part of this that a lot of TPT sellers and teacher business owners don't understand is you don't have to hire somebody full-time. In fact, most people don't hire people full-time. We're all independent contractors as virtual assistants. Asterisk there because it's possible to work for a company full-time and maybe do like a executive assistant kind of thing at a salary or at some kind of hourly rate, but that's really atypical. What's more normal is working as an independent contractor, which means we have our own business, we set our own hours, we set our own parameters for when and how we work, all of that. And then we get to select who we work with. And we will usually send you a proposal. We are the one who sends you the invoice. It's basically one business billing another business. So when my podcast editor has several episodes that she's edited for me, she sends me a bill, an invoice, and I know that's how much to pay her. I'm not telling the podcast editor when she works. I do give her some tools and some parameters in a way of how I would like things done. But since she's an independent contractor, she's actually not legally obligated to listen to me. She could choose to use her own process and tools, but you might have a certain process or something that you want them to follow. It's just important to know that virtual assistants are not employees. They are business owners with their own businesses. They're working on their own schedule, but they're working at a rate that you two agree upon. So this could be them working by projects. That's really popular with blog posts, for example. Like I'll write a blog post for you for $50, $75, whatever. You might pay half in advance. They write it, they submit it to you, you pay the other half. Sometimes you'll pay fully upfront. By the way, I've heard some TPT sellers, I've seen them say in Facebook groups, oh, it seems kind of scammy. They want pay upfront. That's actually pretty normal for just about anything. I mean, would we go to ConvertKit and say, yeah, I know you want like $50 a month right now, but can I give you half now and half later? No, of course not. We wouldn't do that. So in the business world, it's actually pretty normal to get the full amount in advance first. Now, I know it's a hardship because as teachers, as teacher business owners, we're usually accidental entrepreneurs. We usually kind of fall into this role. We don't intentionally end up here, usually, not always. So it does require a bit of a mindset shift. But how you pay will depend upon what the pay rate is and how you do it. A couple things to know though, since you are not technically employing them, like you're not employing them as a W-2 employee, you have to let them set the rate. And this can be really difficult for TPT sellers to understand because if you're on a strict budget, you might only have so much to spend, but you can't say, I'm hiring someone for $15 an hour. That's actually illegal. If someone is a virtual assistant who's an independent contractor, they have to be able to set the rate. So one thing you can do instead, if you put up a posting and you're wanting to hire a virtual assistant, like say in a Facebook group or something, you could say, hey, I'm looking for someone to help with X. I'm able to pay, I wouldn't even say willing, I'd say able because you have to be honest with your finances and say the top amount and the lowest amount that you're willing to pay. And even if it's just like a $5 difference, that is still applicable, right? So you can say, I'm willing to pay between $10 to $15 an hour, $15 to $25 an hour. And what you pay is going to range so much. And we'll go into future episodes about like where to find virtual assistants, what are the best places to find them, how do you hire them, what is a fair amount to pay, which honestly, there's so many questions that come up there about fair pay. Like, what does that look like? Is it fair to pay someone a different amount because you live in a different country? And if so, what are the amounts that are fair? I mean, there's so much that you could talk about there. But I want for you to have all of the information about everything that's possible and then for you to make the decision. So let's just review what we've covered so far. When we're talking about a virtual assistant, this is a person who we outsource tasks to, which is kind of a weird thought for so many of us, but you are running a company. There's really no way that you can successfully, asterisk, there's never no way I should say, like there's always an exception to the rule. Some people are completely solopreneurs and they do everything themselves, but I can tell you, you're probably going to be working a lot of hours if you do that. So it's your choice. You get to choose. You can either save money or you can save time. And you're going to be probably in a point where you first start your business. If you're new, you probably feel like you don't have a lot of money or time, which is such a crummy position to be in. And if that's where you're at, look for the free content, right? Look at YouTube, look at podcasts, look at blog posts. We also have the Content Club membership. It's $9 a month. It's super affordable if you're just getting your feet wet with starting to market on social media. But right now we're talking about if you are ready or if you think you might be ready to start hiring a virtual assistant. So you're outsourcing, you're looking for tasks that either you're really good at and you can easily set up a process that someone else could do it. You can kind of clone yourself, or maybe there's something that you're not really good at, or you just don't enjoy doing it. And so you'd rather have someone else do it. I'll tell you, I work with amazing, capable people. A lot of them I work with are completely capable of managing their own social media if they had a little bit of coaching. And I always embed a little bit of coaching with my clients, whether they're doing a coaching package or done for you service or something like that. But a lot of them just don't want to. They want to live their lives. This stuff takes time, right? I spend, I want to say like maybe 50 hours a month just creating posts for other people. Those are hours that those people are getting back. So just wanted to paint the value of that here. And I'll talk about when you're ready to hire a virtual assistant in a future episode. But just so you can start to get the picture of what does it actually look like and mean to hire a virtual assistant, I really see virtual assistants as partners in our businesses. I definitely consider mine a partner Oh my gosh, my podcast editor. Well, she is going to hear this, so that's good. Oh my gosh, I have saved so much time every week by hiring her. I batch recorded 12 episodes the other day. That would have never happened before when I was editing them myself because it's such a meticulous thing. I can do it, but hiring someone else to do it allows me to get the time back for things that I'm really, really good at and things I actually enjoy doing, things that make me excited to work. So it's such a blessing to have someone else as a partner in your business. It really allows you to focus on your zone of genius and also to produce on more income generating opportunities. If you know that your income producing activities are creating resources, email marketing, maybe you have a really good social media channel like Instagram or TikTok or something, or a Facebook group that does well for you, then you can focus on that. Amplify what's already working, or you can look at the places in your business that maybe aren't doing so good, and you can actually have the time to look at those because I know, especially if you're in the classroom, it's hard to have the bandwidth for all of it. We honestly need to outsource some of those things. Now, there's other ways to outsource things in your business too, and I will do an episode about outsourcing, but again, I also have that blog post if you just want to go read it. But you don't just have things in your business you can outsource. You can also hire someone to help you by cleaning your house. You can technically outsource cooking by hiring a meal service like HelloFresh, or you could even get those meal kits at Walmart or Costco. You know what I mean? Like the salad kits or even just your rotisserie chicken. You guys, this sounds so silly, but in college, one way I saved a ton of money and time because I was working several jobs just trying to survive was rotisserie chickens and like spring salad mix. Oh my gosh, that put me through I want to say 2.5 years of basically no income, right? So there's so much you can do to save yourself money and time. And I know it sounds weird that spending money on paying a virtual assistant can actually save you money, but it actually can. When you think about what your hourly rate is, which is weird because as a TPT seller, you're doing a lot of work in the beginning, and then over time, you're making more money somewhat passively. But if you start to think at how much money you possibly could earn on your own per hour by creating the resources that you do, let's just say your time is worth $50 an hour right now with everything that you're doing with your resources. If you're hiring a VA for 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, you are still coming out $25 an hour ahead and you're getting your time back, which allows you to then spend your $50 an hour doing a better activity for where you're at in your business. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the different kinds of virtual assistants that there are. I also go a little bit deeper into this on that blog post if you want to go check it out. But I think it's good for you to know because I hear TPT sellers use the word VA or virtual assistant a lot, but again, it gets thrown around a lot and I don't think it always is accurate because someone who is a podcast strategist is not a VA. And I would even say, if you want to make it even simpler, you could even say there are general VAs and then there are specialists, right? Specialized VAs, if you want to call them that. But I think it's really important to know the difference because you don't want to accidentally offend somebody. And I'm sure you would never do it intentionally, but we don't want to insult somebody by having someone who's going to come plan the strategy for us, someone who's been doing podcasting or social media or email marketing for 5 years and then offering them to pay them $10 an hour. I mean, we have to put a little bit of thought into that. If you're hiring someone to execute on a plan that you have, then yeah, if you already know about what you're doing and you're hiring a VA to come in and do that, like a general VA, then that's exactly what a virtual assistant is, and that's what they would be great for. So stay tuned for the next several episodes. If you're hiring right now, you're looking to hire, or you just want to be a better hirer of VAs, or maybe you even want to become a VA yourself, this would be good information for you too. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Social Media Magic Podcast. Talk soon.